So today I want to answer a viewer question that was over on our 5 ways to improve bile flow video. And Sabo asked, what is the reason I'm seeing undigested food in my stool? So this is actually a really common thing to see, but common doesn't always mean okay. It just might mean that it happens a lot because it's common and a lot of people have digestive malfunctions. So in this video, I want to help you understand what might be going wrong when you're seeing undigested food in your stool, problems that could be creating beyond just seeing undigested food in your stool, and steps you can take to improve it. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
And before we get into what's really going on here, know that it is kind of common to see some foods a little bit more in your stool than other things. Things like corn and nuts and seeds. These are things that are harder for the body to break down. And someone really has to have their digestion working optimally to break down those types of foods in a lot of cases. So if someone's seeing corn or nuts or seeds, I usually don't tell them that they need to call 911 or anything like that. They may be able to take some steps to boost that digestive ability. But what I'm talking about is when you're really seeing normal foods in your stool, things like vegetables and proteins, and oh, there's some steak. I don't think that's supposed to be in there. So we really need to improve situations when we're seeing normal foods in our stool. And one aspect that really does count that people talk about a lot is that we kind of need to chew our food. And a lot of people are in a hurry, or maybe they're just too bored to chew. I don't know. But chewing really does count because the body is designed to break down basically the surface of everything that it sees. But those particles need to have been broken down into smaller pieces by us chewing those foods. So I don't want you to think that that doesn't count. It really does count. And if somebody has some of the digestive malfunctions that we're going to talk about in this video, then chewing can be even more important. When things aren't really working well, you want to put everything you can in your favor, and sometimes just helping to chew that food into smaller pieces can be beneficial. But when we're looking at digestive malfunctions that could lead to seeing food in your stool, we need to understand the digestive process a little bit. And when we eat food, our stomach makes this hydrochloric acid stuff, or it's stomach acid. And this HCl, as it's called, is meant to help us acidify that food so that we can start that breakdown process. And the problem is it's very common today for someone not to be making enough stomach acid for a wide variety of reasons. Like someone doesn't need to be taking a medication to turn off stomach acid. There's a lot of things in our life that can restrict the body's ability to make the proper level of HCl so that we can really acidify that food and start that breakdown process. And then once the food is acidified in the stomach, it'll leave the stomach and go into the duodenum, which is the first 10 inches of that small intestine. And that's when the gallbladder will squirt this alkaline bile down onto the acidic product that left the stomach. And that acidic product meeting this alkaline bile, when those two opposite pHs collide, it creates like this sizzle that really helps us bust that food apart and get all the nutrients out of that food. And also, it's that acidic food going into the duodenum that triggers other activities to happen. It's triggering the alkaline bile to come down from the gallbladder. It's triggering the pancreas to squirt out, hey, here's some bicarb. This is alkaline. That'll help neutralize those acids some too. Here's some digestive enzymes that help you to break those foods down further. So all of those things are really important. And in a lot of cases, it's not only the lack of stomach acid that's restricting our ability to break that food down, but it's the lack of stomach acid that's supposed to trigger all of these other actions that when it's not there, some of these other actions end up not really taking place. Another thing that's important to understand is that there's a lot of things in our world that can thicken up that bile that's stored in the gallbladder and restrict it from flowing the way that it should. So if the stomach acid is working great, but the bile is not flowing to come neutralize those acids, then you're not going to get that sizzle that's really helping us break that food down to the fullest and get the nutrients out of that food. So we really need both of those sides of digestion working correctly so that we can break that food down properly. And in a lot of cases, when the bile is not flowing and you're not neutralizing the acids that are leaving the stomach, then sometimes that'll cause it to move through the system too quickly. And there's processes that take place when the food is moving through the digestive tract, in the small intestine and even in through the large intestine. There's like gut flora in there in that large intestine that helps us break things down further and helps us access nutrients and all these kind of beneficial things. But when things are moving through too fast, then that full digestive process doesn't really happen. And you're more likely to see undigested food in your stool when stool is leaning on the loose and fast side. It's also really common for someone to have some type of gut infection, and this could be an infection that's taking place in the stomach where bacteria should not be, or it could be an infection in the small intestine. All the cool kids have SIBO now, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And when there's bacteria in these places where it shouldn't be, a lot of times these bad bacteria have a waste product that is alkaline. So they could be in the stomach and putting out this waste that's alkalizing the stomach further and even further restricting your ability to acidify that food so that it can be broken down and you get the nutrients out of that food. If there's a bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine, that can also restrict your ability to access all the nutrients in that food and break it down properly. So these infections are really common, and when there is an infection, it is also very common for the beneficial bacteria to not be thriving in the large intestine because it's like it's a bad town. All these bad kids are in there, and it doesn't allow the good kids to thrive and help us really get the most out of our food and fully break that food down. So you can see that there's a lot of trouble that can come when you're seeing undigested food in your stool. That's a sign that things aren't working correctly. And when that's the case, not only can you create a lot of other digestive symptoms like burping or bloating or acid reflux or constipation or diarrhea or even skin or acne type issues. All of those things can come about when you're not digesting your food correctly, but it has the ability to create a lot of other problems when you're not accessing the nutrients in your food that the body needs for the body to be able to function correctly. But you can also see that we kind of went through a variety of issues that could create this problem. So when there's a variety of things that can create a problem, there's not going to be one solution. I know that you want me to just tell you, just do this and you're going to fix it. But there's just not one solution for this problem because the underlying cause is going to vary from person to person. Now, I will say that it is very common to see low stomach acid when we're seeing undigested food in the stool because either the acid is not there to really break down the food properly or that acid is not triggering these other functions to take place as well. So most people with this issue are probably going to end up needing to try to take steps to acidify the stomach. Some people will use apple cider vinegar and some people will use Patane HCl. So which steps are really going to be appropriate for you can depend on which things are not working correctly, which things are malfunctioning. But chapters 3 and 4 of my book, Kick Your Fat in the Nuts, kind of walk you through figuring out which aspects of digestion are not working correctly and what steps you could take to improve those issues. And the book is available on Amazon, but I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can just get the whole thing totally for free. And that could help you kind of walk through and figure out which steps are going to be appropriate for you. And if you already know that you have low stomach acid, then we'll put links in the description below on our video on how to improve low stomach acid. And we'll also put a link to our video on 5 steps to improve bile flow if you know that your bile is not flowing correctly. But most people don't really know what's going wrong with their digestion. They have symptoms that are so common that they just think, I just have that. Everybody's bloating, no big deal. But if you don't know what's going on, then you won't know what you really need to fix. So you could jump over right now and check out our video on 20 signs you're not digesting your food correctly to figure out, are there other aspects that may be going wrong, and do I have more signs than just seeing this undigested food in my stool? Then I know what I need to do to fix it. So let us know how it goes.